بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome to another episode of التعبير القرآني by Dr. Fadel Saleh Samirai, where we are discussing, analyzing, and appreciating the book التعبير القرآني by Dr. Fadel. And we were almost finishing chapter one, I think. Not almost, but we are on the precipice of finishing the first chapter. And last time we had discussed just the different aspects, or rather, Dr. Fadel was mentioning how the Quran has been studied in different aspects, and what has been found in regards to the different aspects that they have studied it. So the last paragraph we didn't finish it. We stopped at this point. And we had said that وَدُرِسَ مِنْ حَيْثُ إِعْجَازِهِ, and it was studied with respect to its inimitability. Its إعجاز, yani, we normally translate this as miraculous nature, but إعجاز actually does not mean miraculous as such. It means something that cannot be overcome, something that cannot be imitated, something that cannot be, nothing can come above it. That's the whole idea. Like, it is unique in that sense, right? ودرس من حيث إعجازه فكانت جوانب إعجازه لا تحصى. And the different aspects of its inimitability are uncounted. There's so many, you cannot count them. أهو في أسلوبه وتعبيره, whether it's in its styles and expression, أم هو في تشريعه وفقه, or in its legislation and its rulings, أم في معالجته جوانب الحياة المختلفة, or the way it deals with. Oh, okay. Is it confusing? You cannot see the. Okay, fine. You can delete this. Yeah, it gets a bit crowded. That's for sure. All right. I hope that's much clearer. Okay, so let's look at, yeah. So we were saying هو في, and then he says أم في معالجته جوانب الحياة المختلفة. Why did we make جوانب الحياة المختلفة? It's a مضاف, isn't it? Oh yeah, okay. No, I get it. It's a منصوب. I was a bit confused there for a second. I thought it was مجرور. أم في معالجته جوانب الحياة المختلفة على أكمل وجه وأبهى صورة, or in the way it treats different aspects of life in the most perfect and amazing picture or brilliant picture. أم هو في إخباره عن الأمم الماضية والأقوام البائدة, or whether it is in its informing of previous nations and long gone nations or bygone nations or extinct nations. أم هو في إخباره عما سيقع, or whether it is in its عما سيقع. I deleted too much there. Whether it's informing of what will happen in the future, that is. أم هو فيما قرره من حقائق. Oh, that's where we kind of stopped. Yeah, so we have to pick from there. So he was just basically telling us that no matter which aspect you look at the Quran, whether it's this or that or the other, or whether you're talking about history or this or that, you will find it so beautiful and excellent and brilliant in the most beautiful picture and so on and so forth. That's the point he's trying to make. So we're going to continue from where we left off. and we're going to start from here. هو في إخباره عما سيقع. And we had already read it before. So we're just gonna go break it down. Maybe I'll just do one quick reading of the whole thing and then we can break it down. هو في إخباره عما سيقع هو فيما قرره من حقائق علمية وكونية يكتشف الناس على مدى الدهر قسما منها هو فيما وضعه من قواعد وأصول التربية ومعرفته بأدواء القلوب والنفوس هو فيما ذكره من سنن التاريخ والخلق أو فيما ذكره من أصول علم الاجتماع وغير ذلك وغيره أو غير ذلك وغيره هو في كل ذلك وأشياء أخرى فوق ذلك. So that's the portion we're going to try and consume today. All right. So we already discussed and then we have هو. So هو, this is مبتدأ. في إخباره عما سيقع. You can see that this is kind of connected and we'll see how. So في حرف جر إخباري مجرور إخباري مضاف هي مضاف إليه. So this chain goes on. And then عن. This is, so عما is made of عن and ما موصولة. So this عن, what is it متعلق to? It's متعلق to إخبار. Informing of what? Informing of. So this عن is متعلق to إخبار and that's why it's connected. And then you have ما here is اسم مجرور, so it's connected to that عن. And then ما is اسم موصول, so it's connected to its صلة, which is سيقع, جملة فعلية. Okay, and that makes our متعلق بالخبر. Okay, pretty simple structure there. I don't know if there are any questions. Are we all clear how that is all connected? Okay, great. Let's see here. Right. هو فيما قرره من حقائق علمية وكونية. So let's look at that part. So again حرف هو مبتدأ and then فيما قرره من حقائق علمية وكونية. Kind of like this whole block again is one portion. Okay, so that's all connected. Let's see how. في حرف جر ما مجرور اسم مجرور ما اسم موصول قرره is the beginning of the صلة. So قرره is a فعل ماضي. Then of course the who here is the عائد, right? فيما قرره and then you have من حقائق علمية وكونية. This is a متعلق بالفعل connected to قرر متعلق بقرر and together this whole portion is a متعلق بالخبر. Alright, and of course حقائق علمية مضاف إليه وحرف عطف كونية معطوف to علمية معطوف to علمية. So from the realities, from the, you can say, scientific realities or the cosmic realities. So حقائق علمية scientific وكونية cosmic universal. Yeah, but cosmic I think is much better. The كون. صفة موصوف صفة. Sorry, I said مضاف موصوف صفة. Yeah, علمية. No, actually مضاف حقائق علمية. This is مضاف إليه and then كونية is متعلق to علمية. Yeah, I think, don't know which part, but yeah, it's مضاف إليه. حقائق علمية. Right? So now we go to the next part and we see a جملة فعلية. يكتشف الناس على مدى الدهر قسما. And we have to ask ourselves, okay, is there a connection between this part and what came before? And we see that there's something nakira. حقائق علمية is nakira. And then بعدها جملة. So that makes this sentence that comes after it the صفة of حقائق. This cosmic realities that people would discover over a long period of time or over a lifetime, only a portion of it. In other words, what he's saying is حقائق علمية وكونية يكتشف الناس. يعني these realities people would discover only a portion of it throughout time. Okay. So is there a question so far? Are we understanding how that like نكرة بعدها الجملة that makes this whole portion the صفة to حقائق? And then we enter into the صفة. We have يكتشف, it's a فعل. الناس, it's فعل لازم. اكتشف يكتشف. And then الناس is the فاعل of اكتشف يكتشف here. على مدى الدهر متعلق بالفعل أو متعلق بيكتشف. قسما منها يكتشف ماذا? What are they going to discover? What are they going to find out? Only a portion. قسما, a portion. مفعول به. Right? منها, of course, this is متعلق to قسما. قسما منها, a portion from it or a portion of it. Right? So again, you realize that when it comes, the other way of saying this, or rather the normal way of saying this is يكتشف الناس قسما منها على مدى الدهر. That's probably how you would say this, yeah? قسما, the مفعول به will come before the متعلق. But we are realizing that the way that the Arabs are speaking, they tend to bring the متعلق before anything else. Like this is just a normal. They do a lot of تقديم, especially when it comes to متعلق. Like we've seen here. على مدى الدهر, and it could be emotionally speaking. Like يكتشف الناس على مدى الدهر قسما منها. So you can see, like, even when you just speak it out, it kind of tells you what he's trying to say. Like, people would discover throughout entire time, just a portion of it. Just a portion of it. So again, it's sort of like an emotional kind of speech. Questions? Are we good? Okay. Then we have, again, this حرف عطف. So all the are connecting one to the other. So they are معطوف to each other like that. And then هو, again, similar kind of structure we are seeing. هو is the مبتدأ فيما وضعه من قواعد وأصول التربية ومعرفته بأدواء القلوب والنفوس. All right. So we're going to take a portion. We're going to do up to there, and then we'll connect with the حرف عطف after that. So فيما حرف جار again. ما اسم مجرور. ما اسم موصول. وضعه من قواعد وأصول التربية صلة الموصول. So this whole portion then becomes our متعلق بالخبر. All right. Then we enter inside that متعلق بالخبر, and we see that there's a ما موصول and it's صلة. So inside that صلة, we have a جملة فعلية. وضعه. Again, the who becomes the عائد. So وضع is a فعل. من قواعد وأصول التربية. Now here there's a subtle point that we need to mention. Normally, the قواعد, the rule, the principle is that nothing can come between a مضاف and a مضاف إليه. That is a principle. Okay, you cannot have something that comes between a مضاف and a مضاف إليه. I cannot say كتاب قلم أحمد or كتاب something Ahmed. Like مضاف إليه, we know this is a rule, airtight. You cannot have something that comes between a مضاف and a مضاف إليه. So what's happening here? You have قواعد, which is our مضاف, التربية, which is our مضاف إليه, but then we have وأصول. There seems to be a فاصل. There seems to be something coming between the مضاف and the مضاف إليه. Most grammarians, or rather, I shouldn't say most, normally this structure is not encouraged, not encouraged, but I would say that grammarians have differed as far as this matter is concerned. Some have said this is wrong, you cannot do this, and the right way of doing this is to say من قواعد التربية وأصولها. So the wa حرف عطف comes after, and then you have عائد وأصولها, right? So you have something that is, they would say that is the correct structure. من قواعد التربية وأصولها. The ha going back to التربية, right? But some have said there's no problem with this. You have the mudaf. This is mudaf one. This is connected. You have like this is ma'tuf to the mudaf. No problem there. So in other words, principles and basics of tarbiyah, like we do in English. In English, there's not a problem. We can say it like that. Principles and basics of English. For us, it's not a problem. But for some grammarians, they say that this is not correct. So that's just a point of distinction there. Okay. And so we see how that is connected. And then you have wow harf atf. And again, if there are any questions, please feel free to let me know. ومعرفته بأدواء القلوب. So معرفته goes back to where is it? Where? أهو فيما وضعه من قواعد وأصول التربية. Yeah. So معرفته goes to, what does this go to? في, it goes to this في. So this is where it connects. So فيما وضعه وفي معرفته بأدواء right? Okay. So أم هو فيما وضعه من قواعد وأصول التربية, or is it, or whether it is in its placement, in the placing of its basics and principles of education, تربية, education, right? Or nurturing. But education sounds better here because we have principles and basics in education, like قواعد النحو, قواعد النحو والصرف, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So this ma'rifah goes to fi. Am huwa fi this or fi this? Is it in this or in this? So wa fi ma'rifatihi, in other words, there's a fi here. Wa fi ma'rifatihi bi adwa'i al-qulubi wan-nufus. And why am I saying it's going to ma'rifah? Because this is an ism, it has to go back to an ism. Okay, so that's why I'm saying it's going back to that. So ma is an ism, and ma'rifah is also an ism. We cannot say it goes back to qawaid because then it will make this structure part of the structure and it will not make sense. Because you would ask, what does this who refer back to? The who goes back to the Quran. Ma'rifatihi, the Quran's knowledge. بأدواء القلوب والنفوس. Its knowledge of the medicines of the heart and the soul, right? The Quran's knowledge in the medicines of the heart and the soul, right? ومعرفته بأدواء القلوب والنفوس.
Sister, can you can I translate it? هو فيما وضعه من قواعد وأصول التربية. So is it like or is it in what it has placed of its rules and principles of education?
Yeah, that works.
But it is talking about Quran, right? Its
Yes.
placements.
Yes, the Quran.
Actually, I'm losing the gist of the this paragraph in this. It's all talking about what.
So it's talking about how it placed the different rulings and principles of education. Like the way it uses nahwu, the way it uses sarf, this qawaid, these different basics, how it has placed different things in the Quran, the placement of it. It has perplexed Arabs the way the Quran uses some of this, like the taqdeem, ta'khir, all these rules that we have learnt about. I think that's what he's saying.
Okay, yes.
Oh, yeah.
I have a question. Can I ask?
Yes.
In huwa fima wada'ahu, the who is the ayat, right?
Yes. Going back to the
But it's
Quran.
inside the jumla fi'liya. correct.
Uh-huh.
And now I'm asking a grammar question, but it's inside the jumla fi'liya. And so now wada'a is the file, and the who would we take that as the maf'ul bihi?
Would we take us as what?
Maf'ul bihi.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a maf'ul bihi,
Grammatically.
yes. Yeah, grammatically it's a maf'ul bihi, yes.
Why is there hesitation on your part?
No, because I wasn't thinking in along those lines, so
Oh, okay.
I had to
Okay.
think a
Okay.
little bit and then
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, it is the maf'ul bihi. Yeah. Wada'ahu, the placement of it, its placement. So no, he placed it. Sorry, what am I saying? He placed it. It's a maf'ul bihi. Or it placed it, which is another weird way of saying it. Any other questions?
Can it be passive? I'm just brainstorming. Can it be passive? Like the qawaid and the usul and tarbiyah were placed in it?
Let me think.
Because then we will have an ayat. Then who will be there? Because it's not going back to ma.
Let's go back to the Quran. Yeah, it's not a match. It's a mismatch.
Yeah. So if it is mishmash, then the doer has to be someone else. So I'm
Qur-
just suggesting that can qawaid and usul and tarbiyah be the naibul file? And can it be wudiya?
Then the maf'ul bihi, how does it come if it's passive? Like wudi'ahu,
It's an ayat. Ayat won't be translated, right? So it will be dropped anyway.
but it's still a
So it will
maf'ul
be-
bihi. So if it is passive, it doesn't take a maf'ul bihi, right?
Mm.
Yeah. So if I say wudi'ahu, it was placed it. Still the who is a maf'ul bihi.
The qawaid were placed in it. So
Then fihi, wudi'a fihi, not wudi'ahu. It doesn't take a direct maf'ul bihi if it's
Okay.
passive, right?
Okay. Okay, got it. So wada, who is the doer of it? And who is who?
فيما وضعه, in what so
Hmm.
what it placed. Again, the who we don't translate it because it's Aid, and that's why we don't in what it placed it. Yeah, min qawaid
So
so we don't translate the it.
Okay. It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Sorry?
It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here. It is the huwa.
Yeah, you can say Allah
Huwa.
Azza wa Jal, or you can say the Quran. It goes back to the same source. Either it's the Quran, and the Quran is the speech of Allah, so Allah is the man who actually wrote the Quran, or rather spoke the Quran. So they're related in that sense. So yeah, you can say what he placed
It is
in
he
terms of
placed it in terms of so the it is what is it?
we don't
He
translate
placed
it.
what?
We don't translate it.
We don't translate. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Aid. Yeah. Yeah, because if you start translating it, it's just gonna confuse you. Because then you're gonna ask, what is it referring to? It's just the Quran. It's talking about itself. Because it's a match. It's not a mismatch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there another question? Okay. Okay, so Saliha, how do you define passive? How do you understand the concept of passive? Let's start from there.
In this one?
No, Saliha is asking a question in the chat. Why can't passive take maf'ul bihi? Is it for every passive? I don't remember this. Please clarify. Dua is a no. Yes. But what else do we know about passives? The other thing that we know about passives is that they don't take مفعول به. Okay, so here's the thing. If the fi'l is لازم, then it doesn't take a مفعول به. So that means it doesn't have the passive line, right? And we know that if a fi'l is متعدي, for example, كتب أحمد الكتابة or كتب أحمد الدراسة. Let's go with a different so that it doesn't look like a مفعول مطلق. كتب أحمد الدراسة. Ahmad wrote the lesson. الدراسة is my مفعول به, right? When I make this sentence passive, what do I do with the مفعول به? I take the مفعول به, I change it into a نائب الفاعل. So كتب الدراسة. The do is unknown because I omitted Ahmad. I take away Ahmad. And then I take the مفعول به and I make it the نائب الفاعل. كتب الدراسة. The lesson was written by who? I don't know. So you can see in that structure, we don't have a مفعول به. What do we have instead? A نائب الفاعل, because the مفعول به in the active line got transformed into a نائب الفاعل, right? But if a fi'l is متعدي بمفعولين, that means it takes on two مفعول بهs. What do we do in that sense? In that sense, the first مفعول به becomes my نائب الفاعل, and my second مفعول به becomes my second مفعول به in a passive line. Right? I hope that concept is clear. Yeah, it turns into a نائب الفاعل. Exactly. And you won't have, and it won't be direct like this.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Here, من قواعدي وأصولي. أصولي is connected to قواعد as معطوف على قواعدي.
Yes.
And what about قسما? It's a مفعول, like the previous line.
Yeah, it's a مفعول به of يكتشف قسما.
Okay. And one more thing, معرفته, it's not معطوف على تربيتي. That's why it's in jar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then what's the point of like وفي معرفته?
Because it's connected to في. It's معطوف to ما.
Okay,
في
it's
ما
معطوف.
وضعه وفي معرفته.
Oh, so it's not معطوف to تربيتي.
No. Because if it
Okay.
was معطوف to تربية, it will be معرفتها.
Oh,
The عائد
yeah.
will be different,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. But here is a who. The who going back to the Quran or Allah or what we are discussing here. So basically here we are discussing about the Quran. Like they did studies on the Quran from different aspects. And now he's saying whether it's uslubihi, this is where the who started from. Whether it's in its expression or styles or ikhbarihi, it's informing, or here again ikhbarihi, qarrarahu, yeah. So all that who going back to the Quran. Same thing here. The who goes back to the Quran. في معرفته, in its knowledge بأدواء القلوب والنفوس, in the medicines of hearts and souls. Like how the Quran it's like a medicine for the heart and the soul. How it knows to cure or to give the medicine for the heart and soul. That's what he's trying to say here. All right. Any other questions?
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
I joined late, so I think you must have talked about why there is a fee, and if you did, I'll just listen to it later.
Yeah.
You know this fee, yeah, you probably discussed it earlier, right?
Yeah. So maybe we can
Okay.
just clarify because it looks like it's not very clear, the concept. So let me just clarify that before we move on. So he's saying أهو, this structure we've seen it before. أم هو فيما قرره من حقائق علمية وكونية. يكتشف الناس, all that. So this is the kind of structure that is going with مبتدأ متعلق. The same thing here, مبتدأ and whatever في and whatever comes after it is متعلق, right? And then this في plus ما is the اسم موصول. So this is an اسم. معرفة is an اسم. So it cannot be connected to وضع because وضع is a فعل. So this معرفة has to be connected to an اسم. That's number one. Then we ask ourselves, if it is connected to, can it be connected to قواعد because قواعد is an اسم? Then we realize قواعد is a مضاف and the مضاف إليه is feminine, تربيتي. So that makes this مضاف here feminine. So it's possible, so it's not possible that معرفة would be connected to this because the عائد here is masculine. It would have been معرفتها, going back to التربية. معرفتها يعني التربية. But the عائد here is masculine. So therefore this thing is connected to something before that is masculine, which goes back to the ma. So in other words, what he is saying is it in this or is it in this? To just put it very plainly, like you have two sentences, is it in the placement of the qawaid or is it in the ma'rifah? But instead of saying or is it in, he just puts a waw harf ataf, and now we're connecting this part to this part, this part, this part, and that part is connected like that. So فيما وضعه وفي معرفته. That's the way to say it. But we don't need to repeat the fi, so we just say ومعرفته. Clear?
So it's matuf on the whole ma to tarbiyatihi.
Yes.
On that.
The
Yeah,
whole
okay.
sentence, yeah.
Yeah. Got it. Thank you.
Welcome. Any other questions? Okay. So معرفته بأدواء القلوب والنفوس. So this is مضاف مضاف إليه, and we said that it is معطوف to that part. And then بأدواء القلوب والنفوس, of course, it's متعلق to معرفته. So that whole portion is the معطوف. That's how it's connected. معرفة with its knowledge of what? Of the medicines of the heart and souls. That's kind of like how you translate that. Again, you just see how jar majroor muta'alliqs, how they connect a sentence, and you have to connect it to the right word or fi'il or ism. All right. Then we've talked about it. هو مبتدا. Again, we have the similar structure. هو في ما. هو في. Like it keeps on coming same way. So في حرف جار ما اسم موصول, and the whole thing would be the متعلق to the مبتدا. The متعلق بالخبر, sorry. So فيما ذكره, again the who being the عائد. So what it has mentioned or what it mentioned من سنن التاريخ والخلق. Okay, so that's going to end there. And then you have أو is another حرف عطف, or. So we know that this either or, sometimes it comes together like that. So فيما ذكره من سنن التاريخ والخلق. I think this is a pretty clear جار مجرور here. So من حرف جار, سنن اسم مجرور, سنن مضاف, التاريخي مضاف إليه, وحرف عطف الخلق معطوف to التاريخ. All right? Are we good there? Okay. Then you have حرف عطف أو. Ooh, what did I do? حرف عطف أو, which connects this فيما to this فيما. You can clearly see it. فيما. Right? So sometimes they would mention, sometimes they would not mention. So another way of saying this would be أو ما ذكره. And I will understand that a fee is implied there. Just like what happened in this first portion here. So I can say أو فيما ذكره, or I can just say أو ما ذكره. Alright. So same thing is happening there. So في حرف جار ما اسم موصول ذكره. We've covered this. من أصول علم الاجتماعي. من أصول علم الاجتماعي. One section there متعلق بالفعل. So متعلق بذكره. What it has mentioned من أصول علم الاجتماع from the basics of sociology. علم الاجتماع. اجتماع is a society. So علم الاجتماع, the science of society, which in English we call sociology. So from the basics of sociology. All right. And if you've listened to Ustaz's lecture, he normally talks about sociology, mostly psychology, but yeah, a little bit of sociology as well. So yeah, it talks about some basics. Again, he says the Quran mentions some basics of sociology, the science of sociology. أو again حرف عطف. So this أو goes back to that أو. أو again, so you see, you can say that the fee is implied here. أو في غير ذلك. Or in other than that. Okay. أو في غير ذلك وغيره. And other than that. And so on and so forth.
Sister, this أو فيما ذكر من أصولي means فيما is again متعلق بالخبر to this هو, right? هو.
Yes. Yes. This whole section is a متعلق to the هو that was mentioned initially.
هو.
This one.
I am same with the غير ذلك وغيره.
Yes. That also is متعلق.
Okay. Sister, one more thing. Ayat comes when there is, if the content is not related to the same thing which was mentioned before. But here we are discussing about the Quran and Sunnah itself. So why ayat is appearing here?
So the thing is, the a'id is always there. Okay? The a'id is always there. I know we learned in Baina that, you know, the a'id comes when there's a mismatch and so on and so forth. But the reality of it is that the a'id is always there. It is either implied, in that case, it is not mentioned, or it's inside. Like, for example, we saw different examples here where there's a ma mawsula, amma sayaqa'u. Where's the a'id here? It's inside. The huwa inside sayaqa'u, that's the a'id. So it's inside. Or it could be attached. Like in this case, wada'ahu. Yeah? So there are different ways in which the
a'id will be
appears.
always there, sister.
It will always
Sometimes
be there.
will be implied, always be there. It's not the concept like if it is not related to the content which is mentioned earlier. That is why to indicate that one we are taking a'id.
Yeah, so the a'id must be there if you're talking about two different things. It must be there to distinguish that I am talking about two different things. For example, how do I can't think of an example right now about a'id. Let me look for, because I also feel like I need revision on this part. This is Ism Mawsul and it's Sila. I think this is where we talked about this. Okay, so the a'id can be attached, detached, inside, or implied. So 4 different ways in which you can identify the a'id, right? So inside a'id, let's take an example. هو الذي أكل الكعك. الذي, the inside pronoun is هو. أكل is هو, so there's a match. We don't need, like, so the what is the a'id here? The a'id is هو inside الذي. هو الذي is the inside أكل, sorry. He's the one, he ate the cake. So we're referring to the same thing here. Okay? So the a'id is inside أكل. Attached, so this is where you have mismatch. This is the one we're familiar with. She is the one, the cake ate her. So now I'm trying to be smart and I'm saying that the cake is the one that ate her. I'm not saying that she ate the cake, but the cake ate her. So here التي أكلها الكعك. So you can see the ha, the inside pronoun is huwa. أكل. الكعك أكل. Right? So the ha goes back to التي, no problem. But I am saying that the doer is somebody else. It's not matching with the verb. You can
Yes.
see. But the match is happening between the aid and the ism mawsul. And then, of course, there's a different case where there's a match. This is the cake, she ate it. Now it comes back as an attached pronoun. And this is the case we're talking about. Yeah. هذا الكعك الذي أكلته. So you can see the عائد matches with the اسم موصول here. But the dua is different kind of scenario. It's a very different. And then of course the عائد can be detached in a sense that it's an
This is
independent
the one
pronoun.
which you told, right? I'm sorry. This
Sorry?
is the one we are talking. Doer is different. Though the Aid is matching with the Ism Mausul, but sometimes we would be talking about a different subject, different doer. That is why
Yeah.
we put the Aid there. I was
Yes.
saying in this script, in this advanced text, it's all
Mhm.
about talking about the Quran, and it was mentioned also before about Quran only. So why it is coming again and again? Because it's just because of the ma. It's because it's broad. That's why.
Let me think a little bit. Maybe it could be referring to Allah as the dua and it as the Quran. Maybe differentiating those two. So فيما وضعه من قواعد, what Allah He placed it, the Quran. Maybe in that sense. So it's differentiating
Okay.
between Allah and the Quran in a sense.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I
Jazakallah
think.
khairan. This is-
Yeah.
Can we just say, these mas, they are actually hinting on the things that are in the Quran, right? So these are the
Mhm.
things, okay? And if you're talking about these verbs are going back to what the Quran is doing. I mean, it is action of the Quran. So there's a difference. The ma is reflecting to the things that are in it, and the verbs are reflecting to the action of maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or maybe the
yeah.
actions that the Quran is doing. So that is why the ayat is coming, because it is going back to the things, and the verbs is reflecting to the actions that are being done by whatever file that you take over here. That is why the ayat is appearing again and again.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah, I think that's the best way to look at it.
Sami, can you please repeat it again, please?
I think Sister Ilham can better explain it. I
Anyone
think
would
if you
be fine
got it.
with me. Anybody. Yeah, Sister Ilham would be the
Okay.
right. Yeah.
Okay, so فيما وضعه من قواعد وأصول, for example, in what does the ma refer to? What is the ma suggesting? It's suggesting something, right? A thing. What the Quran placed those things. You understand? So this who goes back to ma, right? Normally the aid matches with the isim mawsul, but the inside pronoun here is not referring to the things, it's referring to the Quran. So what the Quran placed in terms of things, what the Quran placed in terms of qawaid wa usul at-tarbiyah, right? So the ma here is referring to the things.
Oh, okay.
Got it?
Okay, Sister Ilham. Jazakallah
Yeah,
khair,
that's a good
Sister Sami.
explanation. Yeah,
Yes.
Samia, thank you for that. That makes sense. Any other questions or clarifications? Okay. So we can finish this paragraph, I think, or maybe even the page. Let's see. أم هو في كل ذلك وأشياء أخرى فوق ذلك? Or is it in all that and even other things beyond that? So he's saying it's in all that. I mean, he has talked about so many different things. Tariq, people from before, medicines of the heart. He's talking about sociology. He's talking about what will happen in the future. So many things. And he's saying, or is it in all that? Or even things beyond that? Yeah. وأما أشياء أخرى فوق ذلك. So هو إذا مبتدأ of course here في كل ذلك في حرف جار كلي اسم مجرور كلي مضاف ذلك مضاف إليه so this is a متعلق بالخبر simple easy peasy then you have واو حرف عطف وأشياء what is this أشياء connected to is connected to كلي so في كلي وفي أشياء now I'm putting it a فتحة because it's ممنوع من الصرف although some people say it's you can say أشيائي but I don't think it is right to say أشيائي so that's why I'm making it partly flexible I'm not making it مجرور so في أشياء أو هو في كل ذلك وفي أشياء أخرى and other things so this is موصوف صفة فوق ذلك ظرف okay so فوق is a special مضاف فوق ذلك beyond that ظرف questions there
Yes.
mm-hmm.
So I know Ashia is partly flexible, but being a mudaf over here doesn't. If it's a mudaf or they have al, they become fully flexible.
موصوف صفة
Oh, my bad. Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry.
yeah no problem it happens any other questions okay so let's try and see if we can finish this line as well anybody by the way wants to read because this part we hadn't read or last time we didn't read so if there's anybody who wants to read this part let me know
Which line? Which
هو
one?
كتاب yeah it's a
Oh,
pretty
okay.
straightforward line you want to read it Fawzi?
I could try.
okay
Okay. وهو كتاب لغة كتاب لغة
كتاب
كتاب لغة كتاب
Uh-huh.
لغة. Is it a book of language
mm-hmm.
or linguistics, or is
yes
it book of adab? كتاب أدبي كتاب تشريعي كتاب اقتصادي كتاب تربيتي كتاب تاريخي كتاب اجتماعي كتاب سياسي كتاب إقائدة
good
مساجد okay. إقائدة هو كل ذلك وفوق ذلك عجيب أمر هذا الكتاب
okay so yeah that's basically it's the same structure repeating over and over again and if you've done a little bit of balagha you notice that when there are different kinds of speech one of the speech is called khitabi and this is where like what you hear in Friday sermons when somebody is giving a lecture it has a lot of repetitive words in it so somebody keeps repeating is it this or is it that or is it's a very emotional type of language and this is what this is also the style in which Dr. Fadil is using in his book here. So you see, is it like he had already mentioned here, أهو أم فيما وضعه أو في معرفته أو فيما ذكره أو keeps repeating the same structure. It's a balagha thing to entice people and arouse people and get people's emotions moving. Yeah. So it's a very prominent style. So he says أهو كتاب لغة أو كتاب أدب أو أم كتاب and again we see because he uses همزة الاستفهام we have not أو I think I said أو but it comes with أهو كتاب لغة أم كتاب أدب أم كتاب تشريع أم كتاب اقتصاد أم كتاب تربية أم كتاب تاريخ أم كتاب اجتماع أم كتاب سياسة أم كتاب عقائد أم هو كل ذلك وفوق ذلك Is it a linguistics book? Is it a literature book? Is it a legislative book? Is it an economics book? Is it an education book? Is it a history book? Is it a sociology book? Is it a political book? Is it, like a book of aqaid? What is aqaid? What am I forgetting? Aqidah.
Rules,
Yeah, rules. You can say
fiqh.
rules, creed, rules. Yeah. Is it a book of rules? أم هو كل ذلك وفوق ذلك? Or is it all of that and even beyond that? Right? So he's trying to again just make you appreciate and marvel of the splendor of the Quran. Now, as far as the grammar is concerned here, it's a very simple thing. So we can just maybe do one and then it keeps repeating the same thing. So أهو همزة الاستفهام هو is a مبتدأ كتاب لغة simple خبر. So it's the same structure. حرف كتاب أدب. This is معطوف 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 معطوف. Yeah. And then you come to the last part. So this whole part is just connected because we have harf atif connecting all those things together, right? And of course, they're all mudaf ilayh, mudaf ilayh, mudaf ilayh, right? So it's a very, very, yes, believes, aqaid, yeah, believes works. Yeah. huwa, again, so huwa mubtada, kullu dhalika خبر, وحرف عطف فوق ذلك is a ظرف. So we've already covered ظرف there فوق ذلك as a ظرف and beyond that. Yeah. And of course this ظرف is متعلق to a مبتدا that is محذوف. In other words, هو that is implied there. أو أم هو كل ذلك وهو فوق ذلك. So, but of course we don't need to say the huwa again. So we just say وفوق ذلك. That's what's happening in that part. Then the last line, if you will. عجيب أمر هذا الكتاب. Now here there's just a subtle thing. He made, so basically it's like strange, the matter of this book. The simple way of saying, if you're not speaking emotionally and you're not trying to encourage people or rouse people's emotions, you would just say, أمر هذا الكتاب عجيب. The matter of this book is strange. مبتدأ خبر. But he brought the khabar muqaddam to make it like strange, the matters of this book. In other words, what I'm saying is that this is khabar muqaddam and أمر هذا الكتاب is my مبتدأ مؤخر. The normal way of saying it is أمر هذا الكتاب عجيب. The matter of this book is strange. But he brought it, the khabar muqaddam, to again add that like element of wow and amazement and things like that. But otherwise it's a simple jumla ismiya mubtada khabar with the khabar muqaddam. And of course the mubtada here is amru is a mudaf, هذا مضاف إليه, هذا اسم الإشارة, الكتاب مشار إليه. So you can say like, and normally the way we do the i'rab of هذا, we would say that this is a badal. Oh, sorry, this kitab is a badal of هذا, right? So we'd say amru is mubtada, هذا is a mudaf إليه, and al-kitab is a badal. We normally don't say musharun إليه, we say badal or khabar, depending on how it appears. But in this case, it's a badal. Questions? Are we good? Yeah, there's a lot of emotions that he's trying to say. And that's why it's important to just do a reading. So when we are done with the next page, I think 2 more pages remaining, then we'll do a complete reading and just try and appreciate what Dr. Fadil is trying to tell us. Great. So tomorrow we'll start page 21. Yeah, sure. So Samia, you can ask. Oh, I don't know clarity on
Okay,
what.
I need a bit of clarity of my concepts. Okay, it is in فيما قرره من حقائق علمية وكونية. Okay, so I'm writing it down. Maybe I wrote it incorrectly. حقائق, you suggested is إضافة. Is it إضافة بالعلمية وكونية? Is that what you suggested?
Yeah.
Okay, so can you explain it how you have taken it إضافة and why cannot be صفة and موصول?
Sorry, it is موصوف صفة. It's يا النسبة. Why did I? Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it is
it is
موصوف
نسبة.
صفة. Yeah. Yeah, so
Because
in
I was
that
thinking
sense,
that if
من
it was
حقائق.
إضافة construction, then it should be حقائق العلمي وكوني. But it is علمية and it is يا نسبة, and يا نسبة acts as a صفة. So
Right.
I needed some clarity from that. Okay, I'll fix
Yeah,
that
thank you
up,
for pointing that out.
inshallah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. It's supposed to
جزاك الله
be
خير.
من حقائق علمية وكونية. Yes, you're right.
جزاك الله خير.
Yeah, okay. All right. Any other clarifications, corrections?
I was just thinking, writing about the Quran requires so many dimensions. I mean, he's got a whole list like adab, luqa, tashri, iqtisar, tarbiyah, and all what's not. Lots have been left out. So I was thinking, how much needs attention. There is so much in it.
Yeah, it's an endless ocean. I mean, you
Yeah.
remember in the beginning, he told us, not in the beginning, but maybe just a few pages before, he said, like, this is, like, no matter, did we do that? No, we haven't done that part. I think that's coming next. Yeah, where a diver dives and they come out with only one pearl or like drops of it. And this part is coming. I thought we had done it, but yeah. So that part is coming where he talks about like, you can't deplete this. And even Ustad, speaks about it. He says, like, you have people of different professions. They approach the Quran and they just uncover something so beautiful. Like a doctor will go into the Quran and see something else. A psychologist will see something else. A geologist will see something else. A scientist will see something else. Like everybody sees something amazing from this Quran. It's just beautiful. Yes,
Even in
حقائق is
civic,
partly flexible.
even in
Ah,
civic, I have to bring all the trees and make it into pens and the oceans into ink.
yeah. Exactly. Allah says in the Quran, like ما نفد كلمات ربي. If the trees were turned into pens and the oceans were ink and they were told to write the words of Allah, ما نفد, they will not be depleted. Yeah, we saw the word نفد in صدق رسول الله series. نفد صبري لقد نفد صبري. My patience is depleted. Allah says in the Quran, ما نفد كلمات ربي. The words of Allah will never be depleted. Subhanallah. No matter how much you do. And 1400 years, people have been doing tadabbur of the Quran. 1400 years. And every time somebody goes into the Quran, they uncover something. They're like, I noticed something of the Quran. Subhanallah, this book. Ajib. Like Dr. Fadil says, عجيب أمر هذا الكتاب. Exactly what that is. It's a strange book. So somebody was asking here, and I don't know if okay. So حقائق is partly flexible. It follows the pattern فواعل. So when you have this kind of pattern, we normally call this منتهى الجموع, like the extreme end of plurality. It cannot be more plural than this. Like masajid, like masabih, like in this case حقائق. These are, you cannot have a plural beyond this plural, and therefore they are considered ممنوع من الصرف, partly flexible. Great. Any other questions
Question
or
about that.
if
Mhm.
it's mamnu min as-sarf, then and it's following min, does it show? Is it fi mahalli jar, or
Yes,
does
it's
it
going to be
show?
في محل جر. So
Okay.
it's going to be حقائق, حقائق, حقائق. So whether it comes after a harf of jar, it's going to be take on a fatha, but we're going to say في محل جر.
Right. Jazakallah khair.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That will be if it is acting alone, right? But if it is acting in an idafa construction, then it will become fully flexible, right?
Yes, 100%. Or if it has al on it. So if
Yeah.
it was من الحقائق, if there was an al here, it would be من الحقائق. Or if it was من حقائق علمي,
Yeah.
yeah, then it would be
Yeah. Okay.
okay. No problem, Saleha. Thank you for joining us. And I don't know if there's anything else, or we can end there. Okay. That looks good. موصوف صفة. Yes, here it's موصوف صفة. Here it's حقائق علمية وكونية. Scientific realities, cosmic realities. موصوف صفة.
I hope you're going to go beyond the chapter, right?
Inshallah. Inshallah. We'll see how
Yay.
it goes.
Sister Ilham, can you go down a little bit?
Yes.
Okay. And so kitabu aqaida or di now? Is it idafa here?
No, this is مضاف إليه. Only if it is مضاف.
Oh, okay. When it is mudaf. Okay.
Yes.
Not mudaf ilayhi. Okay, thank you.
Welcome. All right. Any other clarifications? Okay. So that looks good. Inshallah, we'll pick up from there tomorrow and see how much we can be able to do. I think this last page is a little bit intense, maybe in terms of, I wouldn't say the grammar of it, but just the words, I think. Maybe the vocabulary and so on. Yeah. But okay, we'll see how it goes. Anyway, سبحانك اللهم بحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah keep you in afiyah, in rahmah, in naima, always. Ameen. Summa ameen.
يا رب العالمين.
Ameen, ameen.